Welcome back to Behind the Vocals. This week we are joined by the one and only John of Crystal Lake. This episode was amazing. Great vibes all around. Ton of motivational information and tips and tricks and just sayings to get you motivated as a vocalist. It's a fantastic episode. It was a great conversation. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right. We are here and joined by the one and only Mr. John from Crystal Lake. What's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing, man? Thank you very much for having me. This is great. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to have you here. I'm so stoked to chat with you.
Thank you.
First and foremost, how the hell are you doing? How's everything going? How's life?
I'm doing really good. I had a kid recently, so I'm kind of just, not sleeping and dealing with all that stuff. And it's like the most intense game of staring that I've ever had to play in my life. That's the best I can play because you can't look away for 2 seconds. No. It's really not even a joke. It's really crazy.
Congratulations.
I love it though. Thank you.
I would say it gets better, but as someone who has one in the toddler stage, dude, the not looking away gets so much worse. I turn around and he's like on top of a bookshelf, and I'm like, dude, what is happening?
My God, man. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I can't wait to get those phone calls on tour where you have to come home. I hate this. I can't wait for that. That's coming. I know it's coming.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be wild. All right, so how I like to start this, if you will, just introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself for those that have no clue or living under a rock or whatever.
So for you guys that don't know, my name is John Robert Centorrino, and I sing for the band Crystal Lake. They are from Tokyo, but I am from Brooklyn. And I've been in Crystal Lake for maybe about going on 2.5 years now, something like that. I maybe we'll call it 3 almost. And if you haven't heard of us, check us out because we got a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah, sick band. So I guess we just have to start. Crystal Lake, how is that going? You came from the last 10 seconds of life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you went to Crystal Lake. It's
really crazy. It's kind of like back to my roots in a way. I used to be in a metal band called My Bitter End. So going from that to Last 10 was a switch. And
great
now,
name, by the way.
After thank you. After going 7 years in Last 10, doing deathcore, now it's back to more fast-paced stuff. So it feels awesome. I really love Crystal Lake. They're great. They're great guys. Hard ass job, but it's a great shot. Great guys.
You were in Through the Eyes of the Dead drummer Michael, right? He was in
Mike Rainey's in through My Bitter End as well. He started My Bitter End. And he also plays in Through the Eyes of the Dead. He's got a new band you guys should check out called Ley Lines.
Yeah,
with the singer of the Contortionist, Jonathan Winters. So
that's sick. My homie's the bass player. We went on tour with him a couple times.
Bill.
No
shit, Bill. Yeah, Bill is the man. Yeah. What's good? Shout out, Bill.
Yeah, Bill is the dude. We went on tour with do you know the Sirens Boys? Yeah, it was all them. We went out there with Sirens Boys before.
Shout out Sirens. Awesome that's dudes. Cool. Wow, OG. That's crazy. Back in the day. That's wild.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I need to know, how was it going from My Bitter End to Last Seconds of Life to Crystal Lake? What was like the transition from going to this Tokyo band? Like you said, you're in New York, they're in Tokyo. Like, how was that? Was it kind of a rough transition? Was it seamless?
It has its bumps in the roads, but like, they're city kids, you know what I mean? And we do mesh on that sort of thing. There's definitely a culture gap, and the culture gap is really kind of like, it's kind of like things that randomly will happen. Like, you almost got to like step on each other's toes to figure it out because it's not stuff you're like going around telling each other sort of thing. So everything is going great though. We have a lot of fun together. They party way harder than I do.
Oh, really?
But they're really great guys. Yeah. They like to drink and have fun. They're not like, they're nothing too bad, but they're a lot of fun.
They're
definitely
awesome.
Crazy.
I'm sure the food when you go over there is insane.
Oh my God, yo, yeah. I at this point I'm almost in a band just to eat. You know what I mean? Like, and I have to yell at you guys in order for me to keep eating. So that's what I do because the food is so sick everywhere I go. Yeah, I'm a food guy for sure, and food is probably my second favorite part about tour.
Hell
for damn sure.
I've heard the shows. A lot of people like the most common place or favorite place to play is Japan, and they said it's unlike anything they've played before. Just how the crowd is, in between songs, everyone's like really into it, and like they're like quiet and respectful, and then they get wild. And
Yeah, I love playing Japanese shows. They're absolutely incredible people. Everything is really clean. Everyone's really respectful. Food is fantastic. The shows go absolutely out of control. They are
that's sick.
loud. That people are crowd surfing and moshing super hard and screaming all the words, and it's super sick. And then on top of that, there's no fights, which is like miraculous. People are literally, because you would think like with the way that people are losing it that like there's fights obviously, but like it's not like the way you think it would be. If you had shows like this in our neck of the woods, especially where I grew up, people would just be fighting the whole time because
Yeah,
they're just on top of each other the entire show. I love it. I really do love playing Japan.
that's so
It's
sick.
incredible.
That's awesome. How's the travel and like practice and stuff with such a distance?
Traveling, it
Because that's a long
it
flight.
has, yes, it is. It has gotten easier the more you do it. Uh, Usually it's 16 to 18 hours. I recently just completed a really long one though, because I made it a point to come home for a little bit and I had to do 3 flights. So I did 9.5 hours, then a 4 hour. So yeah, it was a 1 hour train, 9.5 hour flight, 4 hour layover, 1 hour flight, 2 hour layover, 3.5 hour flight, and then a 35-minute ride home. So
Oh
that
my
was
god.
probably it was almost 24 hours at that point. It might even have been closer to 18 hours like I usually do, but even at that point, like it was so much interchanging and stop and going that it was just it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
But it gets easier as it goes. You learn little tricks and I bring a pillow with me to sit on so I don't got to worry about the airplane seat. I make sure that I get the specific seat near the wall that I want so that I can lean in the wall and like do this whole turn thing, which
Yeah.
is that's the clutch move in my opinion. I know a lot of people like the aisle because you don't want to bother people. Fucking, I'll bother everybody to pee. I don't care. That whole wall situation like this, stop it. That's the way. But 10 hours, that's the one.
Hell yeah. All right. So I need to know, how long have you been doing vocals?
So professionally since 2010, maybe like other than that, I've been singing since I'm a little kid.
Hell
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I had my first band when I was 15 years old, probably 2005, something like that. Uh, and then maybe like played a bunch of local shows for like 2, 3 years, and then it kind of fell off. And then around 2010, I met this dude Bobby, who was friends with Mike Rainey from My Better End, and Todd Rainey, the guitar player of My Better End. Well, Mike Rainey from Three Eyes of the Dead now, and well, not now. It's been like 10 years, but anyway, sorry, Mike. Anyway, and I met Bobby, and Bobby knew those dudes, and I loved My Bitter End, so I went up there and we started a band called Take It With the Tide, which had members of now Capstan, Three Eyes of the Dead, My Bitter End, and Crystal Lake. So that was like my first dive into like really giving two fucks about like being not like giving a shit, but like that was the first real band that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Nice. So about 20 years doing vocals total, about 10 years of doing them like professionally.
yeah, give or take, maybe throw like a 5 or 2 in there somewhere. Yeah, something like that.
Nice. It's a little length of time to do it. I like that. There's not a lot of people. It's like, oh, I've only been doing it a year or two. That you get out there. It takes a while to definitely like find your voice and to kind of get it down. And
Yeah, I don't like to think of myself as naturally gifted in all sort of ways. I think I'm good at some things, and then other things you got to work for it. And there have been things that I've worked my entire career at doing. Clean singing is something that's really come to me within the last 3 years, like perfectly, and it took the entire time to get that to happen. So shit takes time.
yeah,
You know.
It does. It definitely does. And you have to find your voice, and like you said, your strengths. Some things come way more natural than other things. Some things you have to like work your ass off to figure out and get
Yeah.
down, or some things that made us not be in your your toolbox, your strengths that you can do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, when I first joined Last 10, I wasn't doing deathcore vocals. You know what I mean? I wasn't even listening to deathcore and the idea of like deathcore or new metal. You know what I mean? I just listened to metal. And My Better End was supposed to go on a tour with Last 10, and My Better End broke up maybe a month before the tour, and I was so fucking hell bent on still going on that tour that when I heard that that band needed a singer, I was like, "Who?" I didn't even know who that was. I was like, "I'm gonna give me the song. I'm gonna sing it." That's how I felt about it, and then I just dove headfirst into deathcore. You know.
Nice. Hell yeah. So what got you into being a vocalist or inspired you to become a vocalist?
Probably Aerosmith and Marilyn Manson, to
Okay.
be totally honest
What a
with you.
combo.
Yes. So, like, for a long period of my childhood, I loved watching a lot of movies, and there was a lot of Aerosmith songs and movies that I would
Yeah.
sing along to, Mrs. Doubtfire in particular. And then as I go into like maybe the fourth or fifth grade, I start to have like some different things happen in my life, and I wind up going into darker music. And then Marilyn Manson really becomes a sort of safe haven for me in a way. I kind of got kidnapped by my mom when I was younger for like 3 or 4 years. And at the time, music was a way for me to feel like I was safe.
Okay.
Uh, and Marilyn Manson was a massive part of that. Just learning about the dude, um, and used to fantasize playing shows and singing like that and being on stage and all that stuff. And so it really stems from all of those things kind of like rolled into one, if you will.
It's crazy the power of music, and also how you can go back through your life in different like chapters. There's discographies of different things you're listening to that kind of explain that chapter in your life, like what you were kind of into. It's
Yes.
pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will say that like what was going on in my life kind of points me in the direction of the type of music that I'm going to wind up involved in
Yeah.
mostly,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Okay. Did you play any other instruments first, or just straight to vocals?
So at first I really wanted to play guitar because of Metallica.
Yeah.
And I wound up getting a guitar for Christmas, or for my birthday, I think it was from my father, which I appreciated so much because I loved playing it, but it was very, very big. It was an acoustic, and it was just not didn't feel cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like I was going to lessons and everything like that, and like learning how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like I'm sitting at home listening to Metallica, like and I just couldn't like I couldn't rock fast enough, is what it was. And I like always wanted to play drums, but they weren't buying me a drum set. That wasn't happening living
Yeah.
in New York. So like, uh, so I just started turning my stereo up like all the way and screaming like fucking 2 inches from my speaker,
Hell
like,
yeah.
and that just kind of became it. And I think once I started to try and start a band, uh, and I would just be like trying to sing, and people would be like, "Oh, that's crazy that you can do that." And I thought that was cool, so I was like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm good at this. Let's let's try to expand on this."
Yeah. So is that how you learned how to do vocals? Just screaming at your stereo and just kind of like going from there?
Yes and no. So I learned a lot about like the basics of what I needed to do from that, but eventually I wound up diving into Melissa Cross fairly early when it all first came out.
Yep.
I wound up going to like a seminar in the city and, just being a part of like a group of people that were talking about it and everything. And I wound up with the DVD, and it really changed me as a singer because that literally became the Bible for me. I would
Yeah.
sing all day. I would do those warm ups all day, which is overkill. But I just did the practicing and the little breath of the feather thing and the knees up and the all that shit over and over and over
Yeah.
and over and over. If I wasn't at school, I was at my house like singing constantly, doing all this shit. Um, Also, because I loved vocals, I wanted to be a rock star, and I had a lot of people who even back then didn't believe in me, including in my family, who like told me to my face, like, you ain't gonna do shit. It's not gonna happen. Like, so uh I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. You know, you're not gonna tell me I
Yeah.
can't do this. So I still feel like that. I'm still
You
working
got the
on that.
chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Both of them for sure.
There you go. It's crazy. Melissa Cross is a staple on this podcast. Like, if it's not mentioned once, it's mentioned multiple times. Like, so I've brought it up. People that started way back, like you said, 20 years ago. Originally, there was no material to learn. Like, to scream, you just kind of, like you did, like you said, yelled at your stereo
Yeah, yeah. You
and
did it.
figured
Hope
it
to
out.
God you didn't die. Yeah.
Uh, and the first thing that I remember finding was the Melissa Cross DVD. Because I was doing the same thing, just trying to figure out how the hell to do it, and then found that, and I watched it, and I was just like, well, some of this doesn't really make sense. And then I would try it, and I'm like, oh, light bulb, like this. Okay, I understand now what she's saying, and it
Yes.
drastically helped. Like, it just improved everything, breathing, everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. I use it all to this day. Like even in Crystal Lake, because everyone in the band sings, and I'll tell you right now, not everyone's a vocalist, and we have to constantly, sometimes not constantly, but sometimes we have to teach each other how to do shit. And I still use the same thing. One thing I use all the time with one of my guitar players is like pick a fan in the crowd and sing at them. If you've ever, and I still do that. If you've ever come to a Crystal Lake show, I make it a point to sing to people. Like, I'm not just choosing you. You're not special. Like, I need your face in order to do what I'm doing because of what I learned to do. So like, well, you are special, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I didn't pick you specifically. Like, oh, I want to sing to this person. Like, I have to sing to the faces because it's about throwing your voice
yeah.
and getting your voice to move. So she says, like, pick a spot on the wall, and so I use the people. You know what I mean? So, and you go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, what were some early mistakes you did whenever you were learning to do vocals? I know you said you're not a natural, but I mean, there's something we've done wrong for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pushing and overworking my voice, drinking too much, not getting enough sleep, smoking too much of whatever, just not noticing that your throat is being jeopardized. And that really just covered everything. Like, I'm so good at it to this point now that like I could wake up in the morning and cough and then swallow, and I can tell you like, oh, I'm sick. And
Wow.
I just know what the difference tastes like between healthy and not healthy throat. And you just need to pay attention. Like, dude, My Bitter End was a wild band. They raged every day. I raged all the time. I used to drink constantly with them. And when I learned to stop drinking, it 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 makes your voice better, but like the party dials back. You know what I mean? So like I even tour differently now. So like Crystal Lake is the same way as My Bitter End. They love to party and have a great time, but like I almost can't with them because I'm gonna start yelling and screaming because this is jackass. They're lighting shit on fire and going crazy. You know what I mean? Jumping off the bus counters naked and doing front flips in the front lounge. Like it's sick as fuck. But I'm gonna wreck my voice hanging out with them. You know what I mean? So like as much as I really want to, because I love it and I want to do the same shit, I can't. So you gotta be one of those guys if you're touring, like, oh no, I can't smoke that, or I can't drink too much, like, I gotta go to sleep. Make sure you get your sleep. Jesse Leach told me once in a bar that the best way to heal your voice is to sleep until you can't stand it, because sleeping helps heal your voice. And I was like, okay. And I'll tell you right now, I felt like shit at the beginning of that tour, and that helped immensely. How I got to sleep is my own business, but I made sure I slept, and it worked.
And it's hard to
Believe
sleep
me.
on tour and get a lot of sleep. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you
rough.
got to work at it. I'm not to drift off, but like I'm really good at sleeping in that sort of sense, like that. Like Now when the baby cries, like I could sleep. I sleep through a train wreck. My girl has to like wake me up, like, "Well, it's your turn," type shit. Because I will sleep through, because I'm so used to the loudness of living in the city and being on tour, and now my band is crazy. So like I sleep through everything. I slept through a truck fire once. They had to wake me up. Like,
Oh my god. Oh man. Was there ever aha moment whenever you're doing vocals? Like it all kind of clicked. Like you said, you learned about the pushing, the smoking, drinking, everything, how it affects your voice. But was there a moment where you're kind of like that, where you're just like, okay, maybe if I dial it back, this is better? Or even the Jesse comment?
yeah, there's all of those are those moments for me. You know what I mean? For me, it's a constant learning experience, and I'm always practicing my voice, and I'm always hoping that I can, do better than what I did last time, or at least sustain the goodness that I had going on. So, I mean, really, anytime I notice that, oh, this works, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, great, Uh, I have a million things like that. I have teas and moisturizers and stuff that I breathe, and
Yeah.
the Melissa Cross warm ups are a blessing, but I don't got to do them all the time anymore. So there's like, there's give and take, and it's as long as you're always paying attention, you're gonna always have moments on tour where you're like, oh, okay, that's new. I'm gonna do that now forever.
Okay. Nice. And it's being a vocalist is rough because guitars you can tune, everything happen unless something crazy happens to your guitar. But like you said, you wake up one morning and you can swallow and you be like, my voice is not. It's not a great day, and it's finicky. I mean, little things
Yeah, it
can alter
sucks.
it. Sickness, there's all kinds of stuff. So it's a tricky gig for sure.
Yeah, it can the elements.
Yeah.
Any vocalist to tell you that's been touring for the first time when they've gone to maybe Canada directly from maybe New York, or they've gone from let's say Texas up to Denver now. The elevation all of a sudden gets to you. You can't breathe a little bit more. Things are a little bit drier. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's ways for you to battle that besides just suffering through it. Shutting the fuck up is the best one besides sleeping.
Vocal rest.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So do you write notes? Do you do that often? Do you do the vocal rest and write notes?
I try, but like I'm a chatty fuck, so it doesn't work.
I
Yeah.
can only imagine how hard it is to do vocal rest and not partake in the craziness on tour and stuff with them.
Yes,
Some serious
because they
discipline.
they do speak English really well. The thing is, we party differently. You know what I mean? Like they like to drink, and I like to smoke.
Yeah.
So, uh, smoking for me almost like helps my voice in a way. I feel like it creates like this like layer in my throat of like, you know what I mean?
Like mucus or something in
Like
your throat?
just kind of like resin in my throat
Okay.
on shit because I smoke a lot, so this holds it together. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like when I don't have like a bunch of dabs, maybe my voice isn't that great. But then when I'm like home in America and on a US tour and I can rip all the time, I'm like tearing and I have a great time and it sounds awesome. So I
Okay.
kind of attribute some of it to that as well, unofficially.
All right. So what routines do you have before you do vocals? And does it change depending on different variables? Like you're on tour, you're doing a one-off show, like maybe a big fest or something. You're in the studio, or like you said, you're sick. I mean, does your routines kind of change depending on any of those, or what do you do?
Yeah. So when I'm off of tour, I try to do these little warm ups every day, every other day that are just like breathing and like humming and stuff like that. Or I sing a lot to my daughter about everything. So that kind of
Oh,
helps
that's
me
awesome.
stay in shape as well. Um, when I'm on tour, I used to do warm ups completely, like very religiously. I would do tongue exercises, neck stretches, vocal warm ups, jumping jacks, vocal like this misting thing. And I did
Hmm.
this whole routine for like an hour before every set. And now that I'm in Crystal Lake and we have such an active tour schedule, I actually am overdoing it by doing that stuff. So now I don't do anything. Now I go to sound check and I rip through the first song, which is usually Prometheus or Hail to the Fire or Apollo and or Blood God, and that's the warm up for the day. That's how I determine like how fucked am I gonna be later. If I feel really shitty in the morning or after sound check, I will use the humidifier to like moisten up my voice. Um, if I don't sing for a while like the off season, I will do the whole Melissa Cross and original like vocal miss and whole thing
Yeah.
again to kind of like get my voice stretched into it, so I'm not just like slamming into a wall. Because I mean, a lot of people do practice in the off season, but a lot of us don't, and I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
Um, like everyone in my band is in other bands, so when they're not touring with Crystal Lake, they are off doing the exact same thing in another band. But that's not how I do, because I'll go crazy if all I do is sing. So like when I'm not touring, I just come home and I'm just a dude. I like to cook and hang. I spend time with my daughter as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, I spend time with my cats and stuff, and who is hanging out with me right here. And I just, I chill out and I live me. I do me. I turn off music for a little bit, So uh, it really depends on how long of a tour was I just on. How crazy was it? How serious do I need to worry about it? Like this time I've been off for a week. I've been kind of hanging out. I should, I'll probably start getting into my little cardio things the next couple of days. So like 2-3 days before tour to try to like, get it up again.
Yeah.
But,
it's got to be good for your mental too, like your mental health as well as your physical health, just to kind of like, all right, we're done. I have a break. I'm going to rest. Like I'm going to rest me and just kind of.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. I know that members of my band refuse to do that and they don't want to do that. And, and I know other bands don't want to be like that, but like, I have to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Shout out to Talibaba. I don't know how my man tours all like year like that and then come home and then just sings to his computer. Like, I would lose my mind. You know what I mean? Like, props to that guy for real, because I couldn't do that. It would drive me nuts. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I try to do what I can with what I got in my hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. So when you're under the weather, you mentioned teas? Do you do any teas? Do you do anything else special or? Throat sprays. Heard all kinds of. There's vast amount of stuff we've heard over years, and different things work for different people that they find helps them.
So in extreme cases, I have 800 milligram ibuprofen that I'll take.
Okay.
I have a licorice root tea that I prefer. That's not really about taste. It's really just about like your throat and well-being. Ginger
like a
shots,
throat coat kind of thing with the licorice.
So it's not really a throat coat, but the licorice, just the aromas help open up the capillaries in your throat type of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Same thing if you buy like the ginger shots, put that in a tea. You know what I mean? Like, just stuff like that to help alleviate what's happening. And if I'm really, really, really fucked up, I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing my tea and taking my ibuprofen. I'm sleeping. I will get up and do the job parts that need my hands, and then I go back to bed. Like,
okay. Sleep, most important part.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is. Don't let anybody tell you that, like, oh, you're a singer, you don't got to worry about it. Like, dude, 8 hours minimum if you're touring regular, 100%.
Hydration's another one.
Facts. Drink water.
Do you do you mentioned the mist a couple times. Do you do that before a show? Do you do like the vocal mist, or do you do it after?
So like it depends on how I feel.
Okay.
I used to do it religiously before the set. But now I do it just if I feel like I need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But normally I get by with what I can do. I'm pretty proficient in, and I don't want this to sound like I'm good at my job, but I'm pretty proficient in doing my job. So the idea that like,
job. We're definitely gonna say you're good at your job.
Thank you. If there have been times where like I can't speak, but I'll make sure I fucking sing it. So I'll set for you 100%. Like you can ask the dudes that I toured with in the last 10. There are times when I come off stage and I'm like texting the front seat of the van to pull over because I can't even tell you to pull over, but I can sing a set. Like,
yeah.
So.
Hell yeah. I've tried the vocal mist stuff, and I was surprised. I got put onto that, and like you said, I used Melissa Cross also. Same, the original warm ups. You know, I've definitely modified them for me, and
yes,
still a staple in my warm up. And then I've tried the vocal mist, and I was like, it can't hurt because hydration, makes sense, like all that, and it makes a difference. It is a nice tool to have.
Yo, yeah, especially if you live in a dry area, or if you, like I said, you are touring regularly. I keep it on me just to have it with me, and I don't even use it that much anymore. But it is a very nifty tool for damn sure. And there are all different versions of them. You can buy them on Amazon, and they have them directly from Vocal Mist. But I find all different kinds, in weird places. So do your research, find what's best for you.
Hell yeah. All right, we're gonna shift gears a little bit. Let's talk lyrics.
Cool.
Where do you pull from for lyrics? Do you go concept? Do you go personal? Do you kind of blend them? Does it depend on the album, the song? Like what's your go-to?
So this might sound very funny, but this will understand where I'm going. So I study stand-up comedy in order to understand how I can proficiently and quickly not only come up with ideas for lyrics, but come together with concepts that seem kind of like not like sarcastic or goofy, but almost different in a way. But in a way, kind of sarcastic. A lot of my lyrics, if you read them, a lot of the metaphors that I use are slightly sarcastic. Like I'm almost like because I'm constantly pointing something out or like making an idea of something. So I use my personal feelings and situational awareness to squeeze the stand-up comedy thing in me in order to write lyrics and write stuff like that. So, that because the reason I do that is because I wound up doing that. And a lot of people told me I should do stand up, and I started looking into it, and I learned that the idea of not getting thrown off by a heckler or something like that is an art, and that's a way of coming up with something on the spot when you need it. You know what I mean? So that's almost like a barrier. That's like a war on writer's block, if you will. So if you can learn how to do that, and you can learn how to use something that like happens randomly to turn it into something that you can fumble with, that's going to help you be creative constantly. And being funny is the same as being angry with different sounds. So if you need to be emotional in a more aggressive way, don't be goofy, but think of how, Jordan Peele makes horror movies out of comedy sketches and changes the music. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that, so.
I love that. I love that approach. That's a new one, and I really dig that. Also, comedy's really good at storytelling. Like they master the art of telling a story, like an entertaining story that keeps you captivated throughout the whole thing.
Start to finish. Yes, exactly. It literally is lyrics. You know what I mean? It's just, they're just doing it to make you laugh.
That's awesome.
My job is to make you angry or cry.
I love that. That's really good. That's really sick. All right. Do you have lyricists that you look up to or you admire?
Yeah. So I really, really love the psychotic metaphors on The Dead Walk by Vincent Bennett for the Acacia Strain. I love the sort of sporadic, psychopathic, schizophrenic, like start to finish thing that Tyler Guida has going on The Renovation from My Better End, was the singer before me. Lots of sentences like almost continue and then stop and start a different idea, like the way you would when you're drunk or something like that, which is probably very relatable for my guy, but which is maybe why they're like that, but it's incredible and I love it. Brandon from Counterparts is another vocalist that I love the lyrics to. My man wrote a song about his cat, and like I can cry to that shit all the time. Straight up. Marilyn Manson would be another one for damn sure. I would say Jesse Leach also, for sure, just because in the idea of that Jesse Leach knows how to say things that make you think and make you feel. And I really, really like that.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Very nice.
Keith Buckley's my final one.
Ooh, another one. That's a solid lineup. That's a really good lineup. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, do you have then this one? All right, full disclosure, this one's rough. So I apologize ahead of time. Do you have a favorite lyric? And that is hard. Now, we did make it like a little caveat to it. You can either find one that you like from someone else or it can be one of your own. Because going through all the lyrics is rough.
Check this out. I don't have a favorite lyric in my forehead, like in my subconscious, in my foreconscious, whatever the fuck it is. Sorry. But like I will say flat out that I have anti-hero from Sweet Chin Music tattooed on my knuckles. And the very first tattoo I ever got was Everyone Will Suffer across my chest from the Acacia Strain. So I guess we'll go with those two
I mean, those
as
work.
being my favorite lyrics.
Okay. Do you have any that you've done that?
So my favorite lyrics are probably on this new Crystal Lake album. I think there's a song called "The Weight of Sound." That's some of my favorite lyrics that
Okay.
I've ever written. That's about my life and how hard it is on my family and myself to be in a band. Uh, and then there's a song on the new album called "Don't Breathe," and "Don't Breathe" is about the really difficult relationship I have with my family, especially my mom.
Okay.
Um, so, and I'm going to go on and on and on. Basically, the new Crystal Lake album that's going to be announced soon, all those lyrics are my favorite lyrics of all time. I cried writing almost all of those songs. Uh, and this is the you're going to like my best friends know this shit. That's how these lyrics
Yeah.
are. So like, it's going to be good.
Stuff like that's very. It's for the vocalist and the lyricist. Like it's very therapeutic to write it, but also kind of like
Yeah.
my thought on it is like because I've wrote very personal stuff, and I'm kind of like I guess justified if you will. It helps me kind of get it off my chest, but then also you don't know what
Yeah.
other people are going through, so maybe if they have a similar situation, it's going to really resonate with them, or they'll find
Yeah.
themselves within those lyrics.
There's a song on the new album called "The Undertow," which is about depression and how you treat your family members. And it is literally a song filled with things that someone has literally said to me. And I like was upset about. I was fighting with them one day, and I was upset about it, and I was just like repeating a lot of it in my head, and I just wrote it all down, and I was like, started listening to the song that YD sent me, and I was like, there it is. This is it, you
Hell yeah.
know. And one of my favorite lyrics from that song is "I mistook this home for being a battlefield." So I like that,
Oh,
like so. And that's a great song. You guys will like that one.
yeah. I'm stoked to hear this album. You're hyping me up.
I love this fucking album, man, for damn sure. I've had people listen to Helix and this album, and they are they are hand in hand for sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We had to make some changes because I'm me and he's him. But this album, this is an incredible album. I
Are,
know it is. I don't care what it
are you
says.
guys going to play any of these songs on the upcoming tour or no?
No, we're not. I wish we were playing some of them, but they will be coming out, sooner than later. We
Okay.
have been filming music videos and everything,
Sick.
everything like that. So uh, we got a hell of a lineup for guest spots too. So you guys will be stoked for all of it. A
Oh,
lot
I
of
can't
friends, a
wait.
lot of cool. Yeah, I'm stoked too. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm super pumped. Okay. So as a vocalist, I know you've done this, and I'm sure you're gonna completely understand. But do you have a favorite part or song to do vocally live? And on the other side of that coin, we all know in the studio sometimes we write stuff that we don't think about doing live, and it's sick in the studio, and you're so proud of it. But then when it comes time to replicate it, you're like, didn't think about breathing here or how I would do this within the set. Is there a part you don't hate because obviously you're not going to hate what you're doing? I mean, hopefully, but you kind of dread. It's coming up like this song or this part in this song. You're like, shit. Let me get through this part. It's rough.
So the believe it or not, and it's the simplest vocals, but it's very low and it takes a lot of breath to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The end of Rebirth with the monk singing. When I have to do that live, the low voice that you hear live, that's me, and that's like a bitch. So that sucks doing for
Okay.
sure. I hate doing that. It's mad hard. I do it, but it's so fucking hard. That
Is there
shit is hard as a bitch.
is there a part that you really enjoy or is really fun to do live?
I love singing "Watch Me Burn," and I love singing Apollo. I
Sick.
love
Okay.
doing those.
Hell yeah.
And I really love Mephisto and 6 Feet Under. Love singing those songs.
Nice.
New Romance is another one that's really fun live. Crystal Lake songs are mad fun.
Dude. Hell
So
yeah. hyping me up. I need to come watch you guys live. You're juicing
Please
up
do.
over there.
Yeah, I wish we could have did this in person. That would have been sick. I
That would
wouldn't
have
have been
been
late,
insane.
and we,
That
you
would
know
have
what
been
I mean.
chaos. I'm sure. I can only imagine the interview in person.
It went a little nuts. Yeah, on that fucking on that bus with these animals. Yeah, they're nuts.
All right, so I think you'll appreciate this next question, and I always have to preface it by this question is inspired by Adam D and Kyle Medina from Body Snatcher, so they get all the credit. But do you have a favorite call out? Because we know there's this is no shot at anybody, but there's the generic call outs you have. You know, it shows just to kind of get the crowd going. Everybody kind of does them, and then there's the off the wall shit that you're just like, what did he just say? You know, kind of thing, like in middle of like a heaviest part or something. And those two stand out to me as just like, you never know what they're about to say and just throws people off completely.
I like to say use your fist and not your fucking mouth,
Okay.
which is Marilyn Manson lyrics. So it's use your fist and not your mouth.
No.
So I love that. And I love to say night night motherfucker.
I love
Put
it.
somebody to sleep. I love that shit.
Hell yeah. I bet shows get rowdy, especially you saying that there.
Japan, it would get crazier in Japan if we didn't have a language barrier because they are losing their minds, like for sure. And my band is losing it too. They're jumping in the crowd with their guitars. Like my bass player lost a shoe. You know what I mean? Like
I bet the shows over there for Crystal Lake are crazy. Just them being
yes, and they're
local.
hot as a. They're so hot. God, it's so hot. Fucking Chris, hot. Like it's sick though. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Dude, that's so awesome. All right, this one is kind of a sports inspired question. Do you have any pre-show rituals or things you have to do before the studio or a show? And it can be anything from like socks to shoe, like you wear your show shoes, or some people have said like stretching, push-ups, which is kind of a basic thing. One person actually told me they drink light blue Gatorade before they go in the studio, specifically light blue Gatorade, and I was like, okay,
the sugar content.
Yeah, I guess so.
I love it. So I just make sure I have plenty of water. I do have some stigmas about like, oh God, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna have what I need tonight. You know what I mean? Like one of those things is like if for some reason my band winds up on the other side of the stage and I'm on the opposite side, and like before we go out, everyone always fist bumps. I have this like fear that like if I don't fist bump everybody, that like my set's gonna suck. So I like always have to make my way around. Like no, I can't not do that.
So
like,
you are a little superstitious.
So, yeah. There's that one. I like to make sure, like I said, I have plenty of water. I like my towel. I don't want a stage towel. I want my towel. I think that's really probably it. Like I wear the same gear every night. I just make sure I rinse them all off. So, yeah, I mean, I just like to make sure I have all my stuff. You know,
okay.
If all of a sudden I don't have my belt or like my shoes are fucked up, I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna be hyped.
I like it. A little superstitious. I mean, it kind of does bleed over. Like athletes will do it, but I mean, we all kind of have little things, little quirks, like just to make sure your mind is right and you're ready to go. Like you feel better about it. Well, that too.
That's what I'm doing all day on tour.
So, as soon as you joined Crystal Lake, did you feel a lot of pressure? Were you kind of stressed out about like meeting kind of where they were at, or like, but also making it to your own? Like, how was that feeling and that thing for you? So
I honestly feel more pressure now than I did then. I was never really nervous, and I was always confident in myself to get the job done. But like, it's been a minute since I've been in the band, and the album hasn't come out yet. And there's definitely this idea of like, where's the music type of deal. So I feel like that makes people restless. That's really the main pressure for me. So like, it's finally happening. And it's crazy because the vocals have been done for a long time. You know what I mean? Like we're not waiting on the vocals to get done. Like we've been waiting on other stuff to get done. So that's been stressful to have only cell phone music videos of myself to portray my voice and not an album is a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can easily get dogged by a cell phone recording, and it does happen, and it's a pain in my tits. So like, to be completely frank with you, my guy, like, so that's my main stress. When I first joined the band, I think my main stress was realizing that my stage presence was very different than the band because my band originally wasn't like that. So I had a different vibe, and I brought a deathcore vibe to a metalcore band, and I had to figure out how to change that because it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to smile a little bit here. So, uh, that was a little stressful. Um, but yeah, it's harder now for sure. There's more at stake. It's a bigger job. We're doing more. I'll tell you right now, everyone in a band tell you like the bigger your band gets, until you're like real big, like it's just harder. It's probably even harder than two. I'm probably exaggerating. It just gets harder and harder and harder. It doesn't get easier. It's like having kids. Like the bigger your band gets, the more shit there is to do. So
Yeah.
you know,
All right. I think you guys are going to crush on this album. I haven't heard anything,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be massive. So I'm so
I'm
stoked.
I'm super hyped.
You
I'm singing over pianos and stuff. It's sick.
Ooh, okay. You juiced me up on the lyrical content alone. Like I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Okay, favorite bands to tour with.
Favorite bands to tour with. So I love touring with Throne. All of Throne is
Oh my
super
God.
sick. I love touring with the dudes in Unity, Texas. They were also fucking awesome. Same thing with the dudes in Graphic Nature. This was a tour I was on recently. That was one of my favorite tours that I've done in a while. I love touring with the dudes in Carnifex. Those guys are
Great dudes.
awesome. I think I've done one or two tours with those guys way back in the day, and it was one of my favorite tours. Um, Within the Ruins is another band that I love touring on. This tour in particular was absolutely nutty. We were in Europe together on a bus with Fifth Floor Autopsy, and that was absolutely crazy. But I've toured within at least one or two other times, and they're just some of the funnest guys. They're so much fun, and they just know how to party and get down. Uh, let's
Nobody
see
likes
off the
Within
top
the
of my
Ruins.
head.
Just saying. Nobody likes them. They're lame. Totally kidding. Like those, I've chatted with Steve and Tim, and they're known
love
Tim for years,
drummer.
and they're awesome dudes. Those dudes are they're great guys. They're fun.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of fun.
Lorna is another one I really love to tour with. I've toured with a lot of the lineup of Lorna, all the different lineups of Lorna, and you know, they're all cool dudes. You know what I mean? Every time, Will's a cool guy, Tom's a cool guy, CJ's a cool guy. Everyone was cool.
Nice.
Like everyone was nice and fun to party with and hang out. Like I know everyone has differences now, but um, those were one of my favorite bands to tour with and have a good time with. Uh,
That's
let's
a
see
hell of a
another
lineup.
band.
Can you imagine that? Like that show now, if you put all those bands on a package, like Jesus,
That'd be super sick. I would absolutely love that.
crazy fest is what that is. I mean, you just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have lots of friends in other bands that I just see all the time that are super fun. We've had a lot of fun with lots of bands that we got to chill with. We had a blast with the dudes in Kim Dracula. We had a lot of fun with the dudes in Brand of Sacrifice. You know, I love touring with all those guys. I haven't really bumped heads with too many bands. You know what I mean? As when I was younger, when we first joined Last 10, yeah, you know what I mean? We were dicks. We were fighting with spite and shit when we were younger because we're stupid. Like, but like we're all adults now. I haven't really bumped my heads with anybody.
that's awesome.
You know, everyone's been kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
maybe I curse a little too much and some people don't like that, but like it's all
It
right,
is what
bro.
it is.
Yeah. Like
Do you have any fun tour stories you can tell us that you're allowed to tell us? Because
my
I know there's some
God.
stuff probably we shouldn't say.
Tons. Yeah, yeah. But I have yeah. Oh my God.
I'm sure there's
And,
some with ruins for sure. Because
okay, that's a great, great idea. So this tour in particular, it is Within the Ruins, Fifth Floor Autopsy, Last 10 Seconds of Life, and Phineas. At the time, I'm just joining Last 10. We all meet up in Germany the morning that we land for the first show. Pretty sure we went directly to a venue to play. And everyone is jet lagged, everyone is tired, we're all drinking. And I think it was Jose and the drummer from Fit for an Autopsy got too drunk because he was too tired, and which he normally will not get like this apparently, because I've only toured with them a couple of times. And he gets so drunk that he goes up to Bryce from Phineas's bunk and he starts pissing on Bryce in his bunk. This is night one. This is night one. We have not known each other for like more than 8 hours at this point, like not even. And yeah, totally. Just Bryce doesn't even think twice about what's happening. He doesn't realize what's going on. He thinks someone's playing a joke on him. He realizes like someone's peeing on me. But they're like a good wholesome Christian band, so like no one gets mad. They like wake up Hossein out of his blackout drunkenness, like they tell him what's going on, and he don't believe it. He's like, no, he gets mad. He was like, no, that didn't happen. I don't fucking believe you guys. How dare you say I did some shit like that? Well, yeah, he pissed all over Bryce in his bunk the first night. It's sick.
Oh my God.
I got a million shit like that, man. Stuff, crazy shit happens all the time. I woke up in the Crystal Lake van one morning, and they were choking each other like this. Until just because they wanted to see who would tap out first.
Oh
Like, I was like, you guys gotta be careful. I was like, someone's gonna die or come, and then this isn't gonna be fun anymore. So, like, there. I mean, I've had a blast with My Bitter End. Like, I woke up one morning on a My Bitter End trip, and we had a bus, and like my bass player stuck his dick out the little window to pee, laying sideways on the window, like because he didn't want to go pull over or whatever. Insane, crazy shit. I can talk about wild shit all day. If you've seen it on Jackass, I have likely watched one of these idiots do it. I've watched people jump off of the top of trailers, through tables, like people wrestling. I've watched people jump off merch racks, like doing drop elbows on each other, like through. It's your own devices and poisons will yield insane moments. And then being around at night, you know, around crazy shit at night and truck stops and on the road, especially in America, like, stop it, dude. Shit is wild.
Do you have a favorite tour you've done of all time, like one that stands above all the others?
This Throne Tour.
Throne Tour, really?
Honestly. Yeah, this Throne Tour was fucking sick as hell. And I just, not only was every show fantastic, and I guess the Kim Dracula tour leading up into it also, this whole past 2 years, this whole 2-3 months that we just did as a band, that was probably my favorite tours in a long fucking time. Everyone was super cool. All the crew was super sick. Like, you know, regardless of the wild, crazy shit that fucking happens on my bus, like everyone still got everything done. Shit was still top notch. You know what I mean? Like, I ate some of the best food. You know what I mean? I had friends every night. I hung out and had a blast. Shows were sick as fuck. People were cool. TMs were awesome. You know what I mean? Merch guys were great. Merch sales were good. Like, so that for sure.
Was Buster on the tour?
No, he was not.
I know
we had
he's
Marcus
mentioned,
fill
I
it in.
guess, with how busy he is with producing and all the stuff, all the things he's doing, that he wasn't necessarily on all the tours, but he would be on certain ones.
Yeah, we were hoping to see him in Japan, but he was still busy and stuff like that. But Marcus is not only an amazing fill and drummer, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sweet German boy. You know?
Man, the way they marketed themselves and did things, Throne, is just crazy. Like, it should be.
They're
studied.
super fun. They're a lot of fun to hang out with. They're super down to earth guys. Their TM is one of my favorite tour managers that I have ever had in my life. Like,
oh, wow.
Gabe gets shit done.
That's awesome.
It's like, it's serious. Like, he is not fucking around, but he is not. I love him. He's an asshole, but I fucking love him. He's my asshole.
But it makes things easier on you guys. A lot less stressful.
Yeah.
Knowing someone will
Gabe
handle
is the man.
and like get shit.
He's got zero fucks to give. He is not fucking around. He's the man. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of want to ask you. You've been around a while. You've played in a lot of bands. How is it promoting and doing a band now in 2025 compared to back in the day, like the MySpace days, and handing out flyers, and you've been around for a while, so you know about like the old school hustle and the way you do stuff compared to now. It's content and digital and social media, and it's a whole different landscape and ball game than it was.
Yes, now everyone, I feel like all these new bands they just want to go viral.
Yeah.
That's the focus. We're not even focusing on the music anymore. We're focusing on looking cool in the music video and a catchy breakdown that went viral. I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for all of you guys that are squeezing that and have squeezed that. I would like to see if you're capable of turning that into what it needs to be, or if this is just going to constantly create one-hit wonders, which is what labels really want anymore.
Yeah.
So, like,
and one thing bands don't necessarily think about, like, I guess it was, I think it was Orthodox was talking about this, and I never really considered it, but say you have however many hundreds of thousands of Spotify listeners. That doesn't necessarily translate to ticket sales in cities and stuff. That doesn't mean you're going to sell out everywhere you go. That shit doesn't always balance. Or it could be reverse. You could have 40,000, but maybe you're selling, several hundred tickets a night. It doesn't also necessarily always correspond together.
Yes, agreed. They do have a big play in where a band will place on a tour and all that. But at the same time, going viral doesn't mean that everyone's coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, that's great. You're getting plays, but people are going to come to the show because you were sick live. You know what I mean? So I want to say this. It's okay that no one knows who you are. That's the point when you first start. Please listen to me. It is okay that no one knows who you are. You need to start there. Play random ass shows. Do not focus completely on the digital. It matters. I believe you, but you want to go viral with a fan base. You don't want to go viral and then get a fan base, because if you go viral with a fan base, then you can sell out venues. You're viral without a fan base, then you're hoping you sell out venues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So play. Yes, for the exposure and not for the money. Fucking play. You know what I mean? So yes, you know what I mean? Just do it. People ask me all the time, how do I do this? How did you do it? Yo, just actually do it. There are going to be times where you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to miss that birthday, or, oh, I'm going to miss Christmas, or, oh, I'm not going to have money to do this, or I'm not going to pay that bill, or this is going to be, my parents aren't going to be happy with me. All that's going to happen. You got to just do it. This is not an easy life. You are going to realize at the end of this road that you've put your fucking hand up to 90% of your life so that you could do this. And it's sometimes what it takes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm living it right now. I live next to my family. I never see them. So
it's great advice, though. I want to ask you, only got a few more questions.
No worries.
What's harder, being a vocalist or a front man? Because there is a difference in just, some people they may not be the most technical or proficient vocalists, but they're entertaining, great frontmen. They're charismatic, they captivate the crowd, and there's some that are just dudes can do anything, or ladies, they can just do anything and everything, but they don't necessarily grab and hold that crowd in the palm of their hand.
So I would say that being a frontman is harder than being a vocalist, and being a performer is easier than being a vocalist. So if you're sick looking and I have fun watching you, but you can't sing, or you can't control a crowd, then you're not a vocalist and you're not a frontman, but you can perform, right? But if you're a frontman, that means that you can perform, you can control the crowd, and you can sing. So being a frontman is what you want to be for your position. Whether you're in a death metal band, rap band, a metalcore band, whatever, you need to emulate that status for that position. And depending on what you're playing is really going to determine what you should be doing. There are plenty of bands that play outside of the stand around style music and they still stand around. But I mean, what works for them doesn't always necessarily going to work for the next person. So you should focus on you should focus on getting people to listen to you the same way other people got you to listen to them. That's
Okay.
the way I think about it. Like how think about times when you like weren't listening and then someone like got you to snap out of it and made you listen. That's how you want to talk to the crowd.
Okay.
That's the way you want to get to it. You know, and as long as you can sing and as long as you can not be boring, the rest is going to follow pretty well.
Okay. Do you have a favorite frontman? Is there, well, not necessarily a favorite, but is there some that you look up to and you're like, they crush it? They're so good.
Yeah, Keith Buckley, Marilyn Manson, and Vincent Bennett from the Acacia Strain. Those are my
Hell yeah. Nice.
those. Yeah,
I like it.
insane frontman.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So, tips for new songwriters as far as lyrically, patterns, flow, all that good stuff. What kind of advice can you distill upon them?
Everything is not going to be sick the first time you jot it down. I tell my friends all the time when they tell me like, "Oh, I wrote something, it sucks." Get the shit out. It has to suck before it's sick. Don't be afraid of it being terrible. You wrote something terrible, sick. Keep writing. Just don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged by it not being awesome right away because it has to be bad before it's good. Usually, gold doesn't sit on the top of grass. You got to dig through dirt and mud. And
I like
you know what
that.
I mean? So.
You just coming with
That's
all
how
the
it is.
quotes and the knowledge that I love this. This is awesome.
Study comedy, dog. Study comedy, dog. I'm telling you.
You've blown my mind with that. I'm all aboard that now. Like I'm about to start deep diving.
So the reason that not to dive away from that, but how that clicks for me is culture in New York City is very funny guy oriented. Everyone has something to say. Everything is slang. Somebody's always saying like some water under the bridge type of thing.
Yeah.
So that whole idea kind of drifts into like, all right, well, how do you make that amazing? Well, it's almost like everyone's a stand-up comedian. So, because how do we do that? And it's just kind of like this folding thing. I'm telling you, it's a great brain exercise.
I love it. I love it. Do you have any exercises you do if like you get in a writer's block or anything like that when you're writing lyrics?
I watch Seinfeld.
All right, dude. I'm loving this.
Jerry notices everything, dog. You can't escape Jerry.
Seinfeld for the win.
It's not possible. Can't escape Jerry, my guy. Like,
all right. So I took up a ton of time. First and foremost, I want to kind of give you the floor. And if you will, just kind of plug everything Crystal Lake. Anything you're allowed to plug, what's going on. The floor is yours for that and kind of let you do your thing.
Thanks, dude. I mean, I really appreciate you having me. I'm sorry that we messed up the times. I'm glad you were able to make time for me. Tell Nick Arthur that I'm sorry. I love the dude. I'm sure he's got a busy schedule as well.
He did say to tell you what's up, by the way. I did message him. And
Hell
he was
yeah.
like, tell John what's up and put like a laugh.
That's my guy. What's good, bro? We're gonna be on Crystal Lake's gonna be on tour all of July and all of August throughout America and Europe. Lots of Germany and Europe, but we're playing a bunch of festivals, a lot of headliner shows. We'll be playing in America with Victims, Not Enough Space, and Face Yourself. It's partially our headliner. We're co-headlining it with Victims. And then in Europe, you'll see us with Attila and the Angel Maker, which are boys of ours. So that'll be really, really awesome. And you'll also see us just ripping some festivals. It's going to be pretty sick. And get ready. It's going to be hot.
It is going to be hot. It's going to be miserable for you guys. I can only imagine.
I know, dude. No ice in my drinks. No air conditioning. I can't.
I'll put all the links down below. You guys can go check it out. How I like to end it, I just like to kind of let you give advice. Maybe there's somebody aspiring to pick up the mic. Maybe they've been doing it for a while and they're kind of like stuck and they're frustrated, or just they're a veteran and maybe this will kind of point them in the right direction and help them level up a little bit. What kind of advice can you give to vocalists across the board?
Don't be afraid to learn new things. Don't be afraid to write vocals with people, and never stop. Slayer is not Slayer because they wrote hits. They're Slayer because they were just like, we're going to keep playing. Don't fucking stop. And don't be afraid to change. That's it. That's the long and short of it.
You're a gold mine of like motivation today.
I'm a dad now, dog. You know what I mean? Like I'm in here.
You got the dad energy going.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, that was awesome. Trying to think if there's anything else. What about touring if they're looking to get into touring? Any advice
If
for
you
people
look,
new to the touring game?
it's gonna be hard. Think about like camping out of the car. That's literally what it is. Like, don't bring a shit ton of stuff. You're gonna get all of it along the way. You know what I mean? But like you don't bring plates, and I've seen people bring like plates and forks and paper towels. Like, chill out. You don't need that bullshit. Like, so just keep yourself clean. Make sure that you're washing your hands. You're touching a lot of people. Use hand
Yeah.
sanitizer. Make sure you sleep. Lock the fucking van and pay attention to where you park. Straight up. Don't just be like, oh, we're good. You know what I mean? Like, give a fuck about where you're parking. Shit gets stolen. St. Louis specifically. I've been there.
Point it out quick.
Connor. I love Connor. I'm just joking.
Oh man. All right, Jan. Thank you so much, man. I think that's about it. Unless there's anything else you want to share or talk about.
No. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Dude, you're a legend. I appreciate it. Guys, go catch Crystal Lake on tour this summer. And,
Hell yeah.
man. It was an awesome interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you all so much for watching or listening to this episode of Behind the Vocals featuring John from Crystal Lake. All of Crystal Lake's links are down below, as well as John's Instagram, so please go show them some love. Keep an eye out for new music from Crystal Lake and tour dates to see when they're coming to a city near you. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, and I'll catch you guys and gals on the next one.